So this is a follow-up video to the video I made in January where I was basically explaining my experience with my mother's diagnosis up to that point. You know, the day of diagnosis and how I felt and what I witnessed, and I knew there was something wrong. So I basically want to take it from there and explain the deterioration from that point to now, to where we are now. So that's somewhere in January. Around April 6th or April 7th, my mom is, she went into basically what we call some sort of coma state. She was a steady decline. Her memory was getting worse every day. She stopped calling me by my name. She started calling me Manolo, Fernando, which is her brother's name. And then as time went by, she forgot even those names because she stopped calling me Fernando or Luis or Manolo, and she started calling me People, which is like a general name you just call someone, people. And then she forgot. She stopped calling me People, and she would call me Mima, which is what she was calling my sisters. Is more not something you use for a guy, but she was calling me that. And I was never sure if she was calling me or my sisters because she was calling everyone Mima. And then she started talking a lot to herself, and one of the things that was most striking was, when she started basically begging for death. She was begging to die, and she was always saying that she didn't want to live like this and she just wanted to die. And I always told her, there's nothing we can do. It's not like I'm going to kill you or put you to sleep, or it's senseless to say that because, it hurts me that you want to, I understand why, but it hurts me to hear that. And, the fact that you're vocalizing it, really stresses me out. I don't really, no one wants to hear that their loved one wants to die. But I understood that she wasn't able to walk, she wasn't able to remember anything, she wasn't able to talk, she didn't want anyone to see her. She had constant, her head was hurting. Plus we had her on top of all of that, we took away the only things that she still had in her life that she enjoyed, which is my mom had a huge sweet tooth, and her sweet tooth, made her had her eat all types of garbage, flan and rice pudding and ice cream, which she loved all her life, and we took all that away. So not only physically she was fucked, mentally she was fucked. We didn't even give her as far as the food she wanted to eat, she wasn't even getting that. And she was eating greens and spinach and, everything organic, of course, but nothing that she'd enjoy, nothing, So, we had her on what's called, they call it the ketogenic diet, because the idea behind that is that sugar, processed sugar at least, accelerates cancer because it feeds off of it. It's a theory. They have some studies say that it is, and some studies say that it's not. So when we gave it a try, because we don't have much of a choice, so we gave it a try. So we took her off that because she was complaining, and when we did take her off that, I'd say the cancer advanced pretty quickly after that. It spread within weeks. Now, if that was a coincidence or not, I don't know. But it's just, this is just one case study. So I'm just saying, just letting you know my experience with that. And she declined pretty quickly after that. I saw that she declined. And when we did her next MRI, she had more tumors spread. The original tumor actually shrank, but she had new tumors. Her whole left side of the left hemisphere of her brain was fucked. You can see it on the MRI scans. It was just shit everywhere. It's this fucking disgusting disease. So anyway, so then that last MRI, the next day, that day after that, we went, I had what was officially my last dinner with my mom. We went out and we got her a lobster, and, she really enjoyed herself, I guess, that day. I took a picture with her. I had it posted somewhere where I'm hugging her from behind. And that was the Last Supper, basically. And, then on Saturday, her friends came to visit her. And there's a friend, my mom goes to a center here, well, she's going to a center here in Miami where all her friends are. My mom was like a little social butterfly. She go to ceramic class and, they go on, it's a senior citizen center. They go on tour and, different parts. Maybe they'll go to Orlando, Disney World, Key West, whatever. She's always riding with them every other week going somewhere. She really enjoyed it. Made a lot of friends there. Everyone loved her. But no one visited her. Only one or two of her friends visited her during the entire time. But the bulk of those people were uncomfortable with the fact that my mom was diagnosed with brain cancer and didn't want to see her in the manner that she was, because my mom was the life of the party. So they came over that day and they saw her and everyone was like, wow. My mom would just sit there on the couch, paralyzed on one side of her body, bald, but she couldn't remember anyone's names, but she remembered everyone's faces, and she was crying with excitement. It was beautiful seeing that, because I was like, wow, these people haven't seen her in so long, but she still remembers them. As bad as this thing messed with her brain, she still remembered all those faces, which was comforting in a way, that knowing that she still had that, and that their faces made her happy. And because I hadn't seen my mom happy in the longest time. I didn't see her smile or excitement. That day, she was so happy to see them, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. But I could also see the hurt in everyone's faces, because I know they care about my mother. And, when you see someone you care about, and you're in that condition, it hurts. And it wasn't like the way it was with me. I saw my mom slowly degrade. And you can see a person degrade little by little. You kind of tend to forget how they once were, because you slowly adapt to the new reality, and it's kind of like boiling a frog. You put them in hot water right away, they'll jump out. But if you put them in cold water, then slowly turn up the heat, they'll stay in there and get cooked. It's the same way. It's like a slow cooking for a caregiver, because you lose one function, and then you lose another, 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 and you kind of forget. Everything just becomes a big mess, and you're like, you're just constantly thinking, they're going to die, and you're concerned about that, but meanwhile they're dying every day. Every time they lose a function, they're dying. They're dying over and over and over and over again. Every time they lose a function, you grieve. The function, they don't remember your name, you grieve about that. You grieve about the fact that they can't walk. You grieve about the fact that they can't talk. You grieve about the fact that they don't do anything that they like anymore. You grieve about the fact that they want to die. You grieve about the fact that they become children. This is my mother who took care of me the bulk of my life. Even as an adult, I'd come over here and she'd be like, oh, wash your clothes, you have a dirty shirt. It's just my mom. A mom will always be a mom, no matter how old they become. But my mom collapsed into becoming my daughter. Well, what am I supposed to do? This is why I'm here for. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm made. She was there at my entrance. I'm going to be there at her exit. So the next couple of days after that happened, my mom kind of she zoned out. And during that whole period, up until maybe a couple of weeks before when all her friends came to visit her, she started on a mantra. She would say, llévame, llévame, mima, llévame, llévame, mima, llévame, llévame, mima, llévame. And she'd basically say that all day. And as time went by, it became more and more frequent. Up until 2 days after all her friends came to visit, she was saying it non-stop, one after another, day and night, in her sleep. in her sleep, she would say, I would go to her and she'd say, llévame, mima, llévame, llévame, mima, llévame. That's all she would do all day. And it drove me insane. It drove me insane. And I remember just sitting there. I was trying to work on the computer, and then she kept saying it over, and I lost it. The first time that I kind of would say I snapped in this entire time I was with her, taking care of her. And I snapped. I was like, Ma, you have to stop. You have to stop saying that. You're driving me crazy. You say it all day nonstop. You have to stop. And as I'm telling her this, she's staring at me and she's still going on, llévame, mima, llévame, mima, llévame. Which means, take me, mother, take me, mother, take me, mother, take me. Begging for her mom to take her. And I snapped. And I felt so bad. I walked out of there and I went back to my apartment. And I went to sleep. And the next morning, I came back. And when I came back, it was quiet. She wasn't saying anything. My mom, I always had her, she always wanted to sleep. Ever since her condition, she wanted to sleep in the recliner. So I had her in the recliner, sitting there. And I went to her and she was sleeping. I was like, Mom, I'm gonna make you breakfast when we get up. Because it was basically tradition every morning to make her breakfast. I go to her, try to wake her up, but she wouldn't wake up. Like, Mom. But I thought she was just tired as usual, and she was a little drowsy. But I picked her up, and this time when I picked her up to put her onto the wheelchair, she didn't help me. Like, she didn't have any strength like she normally, so all the weight went on my back, and I laid her on the wheelchair. Then I rolled her to the table, and I brought her cottage cheese, and her berries, and the strawberries, and the blueberries, and the whipped cream, which is basically what she ate all the time from breakfast. When I look back over at my mom as I'm making her breakfast, I see her slumped over like this. The way a dead person would be slumped over. That's exactly how her body was. The way you would imagine a dead person slumped over. And I was there with my sister Michelle. And I'm like, Mom. And she wouldn't wake up. No response. She was breathing, but mentally gone. That was hard. It was really hard to see my mom. Because I felt that it kind of like my behavior the night before when I kind of like snapped on her, it led to this, almost like she checked out. Like she's like, I'm putting all this stress on my family, I don't want to be here, I'm checking out. And that's how I felt. Because it was, from that, me yelling at her to the very next morning, her not being there no more. And so since then, till now, my mom's been in a big coma-like condition, where occasionally she comes out of it. So she knocked out 7 days. That night, or the following night, I remember when we called hospice, I asked, hospice came and, they assessed everything. They're like, they told me that my mom had anywhere between 2 to 6 days to live. I'm like, oh. So like, look, we can't have her on the recliner, we have to get her onto the hospital bed. Fine. So we took her from the recliner, and we moved her around so much. She was already at this point sleeping for, the entire day. Nothing would wake her up. But we moved her so much, when I laid her on the hospital bed, she woke up, and started screaming, "Llévame, llévame, llévame." And she's holding her head, and she was curled into the fetal position, and she was just holding her hand, with her good hand, she was holding her head, and she looked like she had a horrific migraine, like a headache so bad, because I could see her face, she was curled in, and it was the most, I would say, as far as if I were to rate my entire experience from the beginning to now, my peak emotional pain was at that moment where I broke down crying. I couldn't see my mom like that. No one should see their mom like that. No one should see anyone they love like that. It destroys you. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. What did I do? What am I gonna do? In a way, I wanted to shoot her, like the way you would do to a horse or an animal, to take her out of her misery. I didn't want her to suffer anymore. Like at that moment, I think someone can be capable of doing that. Because to watch them in such agony like that, it's impossible. You're driven temporarily mad for that moment. The person you most love in the world. And you see them, what can only be described as agony. And there's no way out. There's no way out of that. You just have to sit there and watch it. You have to sit there and watch it. You're condemned to watch this. After a little while, her screams, her mantra started dissipating, started getting quieter and quieter and quieter, until it went down to just a little whisper. And I can still, if I got close enough to her, I can still hear her saying it over and over and over again. She still was saying it hours later, until she went silent again. And she went silent for at least 7 days. 7 days later, she woke up. Perhaps it's, we pulled her off all her meds, no more chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is poison. It's toxic to the body, so, I wouldn't be surprised if you end up in some sort of comatose condition because of it. And then when you stop the treatments, you pull the poison, so they make a comeback or rally. And ever since then, she'll occasionally wake up and look around and go back to sleep. And she'll sleep days at a time. And here I find myself today. I think it's the second or third time that they said, your mom has 2 to 4 days, 2 to 6 days to live. It's not a life to have to wake up every day. And the first thing you do is to check to see if my mom's still alive. That's my life now. I can't even take a small little vacation somewhere because that's my greatest fear, is to lose my mom when I'm not here. It's not worth it. Whatever little vacation, to know and get that phone call when I'm somewhere else fucking around. I'm out there somewhere fucking around and I get a phone call. Mommy died. Fuck that.